President Donald Trump has publicly shifted blame to Democrats as the United States edges ever closer to a potential government shutdown. In remarks before departing the White House, Trump accused Democrats of wanting the shutdown, claiming, "They want to shut it down, and they want to shut it down because they want to give billions, ultimately trillions, of dollars to illegal migrants." Trump added, "So, if it has to shut down, it'll have to shut down. But they're the ones that are shutting it down." His comments come as Congress struggles to pass a funding agreement before the fiscal year ends on September 30th. The standoff centers on health care funding, Medicaid cuts, and expanded Affordable Care Act subsidies, which Democrats insist must be part of any stopgap funding deal. Just ahead of this, Trump canceled a planned meeting with Democratic leaders, labeling their demands unserious and ridiculous, and thereby further stoking tensions over budget negotiations. In the background, the Office of Management and Budget has instructed various federal agencies to prepare reduction in force RIF plans. Unlike traditional furloughs during shutdowns, these plans would allow for permanent job cuts in programs that fall outside the administration's priority list. Democrats have pushed back firmly. House Leader Hakeem Jeffries and Senate Leader Chuck Schumer have both accused Republicans of holding the government hostage and argued that Trump is avoiding real compromise. The risk of a shutdown is particularly high this year. Essential services like Social Security, Medicare, and air traffic control would continue, but non-essential operations, such as national parks, many agency staff, and discretionary programs, would face suspension or closure. Critics warn that Trump's play is not just political posturing. By threatening mass firings and attrition via RIFs, his administration might leverage the hardship of a shutdown to further reshape the federal workforce. As the clock ticks toward the September 30th deadline, both sides accuse each other of escalation. Trump insists Democrats are the ones forcing closure. Democrats say they're defending health care protections and calling out a refusal to negotiate. Public and political eyes are now watching which side will blink, and whether the consequences of a shutdown will reshape the balance of blame and control in Congress. Behind the scenes, the pressure on both parties has intensified. The Office of Management and Budget has already instructed federal agencies to prepare contingency plans, including so-called reduction in force measures that go far beyond the usual temporary furloughs associated with government shutdowns. These plans could mean permanent job cuts for certain agencies and programs deemed unnecessary or outside the administration's priority list. That makes this shutdown threat not only a matter of political brinkmanship but also a possible turning point in the size and shape of the federal workforce. Trump has been clear in saying that the shutdown, if it occurs, will not be his fault. Instead, he argues it is Democrats who are demanding policies that cannot be accepted. He has gone so far as to cancel scheduled meetings with Democratic leaders like Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer and House Leader Hakeem Jeffries, calling their proposals unserious and ridiculous. In doing so, he escalated tensions further, signaling to his supporters that he will not bow to what he describes as radical leftist demands. Democrats, however, are not sitting quietly. They have responded with fierce criticism, accusing Trump of sabotaging negotiations and deliberately steering the government into a shutdown for political gain. Schumer accused Trump of playing with the livelihoods of millions of Americans, while Jeffries stated that Republicans were holding the government hostage. Democrats insist they are trying to protect health care programs, expand Medicaid coverage, and ensure funding for essential services. They accuse Trump of weaponizing the budget process to push his ideological agenda, particularly against immigrants and social programs. At the core of the dispute is money, and how that money is allocated. Trump and Republicans want to restrict spending on what they consider bloated social programs, while demanding more resources for border security and enforcement. Democrats, on the other hand, want to secure protections for health care subsidies under the Affordable Care Act and resist cuts to safety net programs. The clash is not new, but it has reached a sharper and more dangerous stage because of Trump's direct involvement and his willingness to push the confrontation to its limits. Political analysts point out that Trump is using this shutdown standoff to rally his base ahead of the upcoming election season. By blaming Democrats for the crisis, he reinforces his narrative of being the champion against the so-called corrupt radical left, while portraying himself as the victim of obstruction and sabotage. His language is designed not only to pressure Democrats in negotiations but also to energize supporters who see the government shutdown as a fight worth having. The potential consequences of a shutdown, however, are far-reaching. Essential services like Social Security payments, Medicare, military operations, and air traffic control would continue. But non-essential services, including many federal offices, national parks, and research programs, would grind to a halt. Hundreds of thousands of federal employees could face furloughs, while contractors and private businesses that depend on federal operations would also take a hit. This time, there is an added dimension. The OMB's reduction in force planning raises the stakes by signaling that the Trump administration may seize the shutdown as an opportunity to permanently reduce the size of the federal government. That has sparked alarm among unions, civil servants, and Democrats, who see it as a backdoor method to dismantle agencies and eliminate programs that Trump has long opposed. Critics say the administration is weaponizing the shutdown to force through structural changes that Congress has not approved. Public reaction has been divided, as it usually is with Trump-related controversies. Supporters cheer his hard line, arguing that Democrats are responsible for runaway spending and weak border policies. They applaud Trump for standing firm and refusing to give in to what they see as blackmail. Opponents, however, see Trump as reckless, willing to sacrifice the stability of the government and the security of workers to score political points. Polls in past shutdowns have often shown that presidents take a hit when the government closes, but Trump's unique political style may alter that calculus. As negotiations continue, the mood in Washington has grown darker. Staffers on Capitol Hill work late into the night, trading accusations and attempting last-minute deals. Yet the rhetoric from both sides has hardened. Trump insists Democrats alone will be to blame if the deadline passes without a deal. Democrats counter that Trump is refusing to govern responsibly. The possibility of a temporary stopgap measure has been floated, but even that may be hard to pass given the toxic atmosphere and Trump's refusal to endorse half measures.